Don
Hey,
Oriolo.
Giuseppe.
I'm in black and white because of
As you
Felix
should
the
be.
Cat. It's Felix
I
the
know.
Cat.
That's right.
And of
Ah, you
course-
got your guitar.
I got my
Nice.
Felix the Cat guitar. Now,
Everyone
of
should
course,
have one.
We've all gone to color. Why have we gone to color? It was better in black and white and a cartoon thing.
Yeah,
course,
we look younger in black and white.
Yeah, that's true. Well, or at least more. Hey, I'm looking at your studio. Is that where you live? Do you live in that room? What is
I
that?
hang out in this room. I built a pretty big log cabin a few years back. So this is my studio where I paint and hang out, and it's you see, it's like pretty big. I got my cat sitting over here by me playing with my new iPad that I just unpacked, and she'll probably break it like I broke the other ones. But yeah, this is my farm. It's a farm. I have animals here, but I also have, as you may know, I have a horse rescue farm as well.
I thought it was in Central Park. No.
In Central Park, did you say?
Is that where you're located?
Yeah.
Now, where
Yeah.
is this? Where are you? You're in Jersey.
Carousels are my horses.
Yeah.
They
Where
come
are
along.
you?
Night.
Can you hear me at all? Because we're cutting in and out here a little bit.
I hear you great.
Okay. Where are you located? Where is this located?
This is in New Jersey.
That's a
And
state. Where?
well, do you really want me to give my address?
No. But you give everybody a general idea where it
All
is.
right, I'll
What
give you
part.
in Sussex County, New Jersey.
Is that in the middle? Somewhere in the middle of the state?
The northwest corner of the state. I'm very close to a place called High Point, which is where New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania meet.
Oh.
They don't
So
get along.
So there is a tri-state area then.
There is. You have to try it sometime.
Now, just for your own, just a little profile here. People may not know who we are,
Right.
but let's put it this way: Don Oriolo is one of the great finds in my life. I think the spotlight didn't fall on you enough, as far as I'm concerned. I hope you don't mind my saying that.
Oh, I don't mind that, but it's kind of like a blessing and surprise. Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, I guess. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people in this world who get things done and they don't take credit. There are those who don't make money. There are those who do a lot of things that they don't want credit for. And then there are those that do a press release. Every move is a press release. And with even with due respect, I mean, I love Tom Hanks, but we didn't need to follow the progress of everything that's happening to him during the pandemic, and now, of course, the movie. I think Forrest Gump is going to be on the air now. I still haven't forgiven him for the Polar Express, so I got kind of a hard on about it.
I think reading about his diarrhea was pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, see, we don't need to follow all that, do we?
Quite colorful.
But let's start with I want to start with your life, if you don't mind, with your daddy. Now, this is Mother's Day by the clock, but this tape will run any time that we want it to.
Well, my dad was a great guy. He was an Italian immigrant, and big family, 8 siblings, and he, self-made guy. Went through the Depression, the whole 9 yards. He built his world around animation, and just an amazing cartoonist. I just thought of a great story that I don't think I've ever told anybody, but he was like the artist in school, that everybody wanted him to draw things. So they had him draw these sort of columns, Roman columns with vines and everything that they put around all the pictures in the yearbook. And he signed it. So every picture in his yearbook had his signature on it. I got a kick out of that. I learned from that. So he was, he created Casper the Ghost, co-created it actually with Cy Wright. He designed Chiquita Banana. He designed Elsie the cow with the flower around the neck, because Elsie the cow was originally just a cow, a real cow.
Right.
He wanted him to make it a cartoon, so he did that. He
And a
produced
commercial. It became a commercial also.
Oh yeah, he got, as a lot of talented people have through the years, he got screwed. He sold Casper for $175. Years later, the movie was coming out. I had a little discussion, let's say, with Spielberg to get him credit on the film because they were like, "Yeah, do we have to give credit?" I go, "Yeah." So, anyway, he was a great guy. He was a tough son of a gun. We had a very modest life, but we all thought we had everything because we had family. My mother made our clothes and our food, and we all drew. We all played instruments. My brother, God rest his soul, my sister, God rest her soul, great musicians, great artists. We'd sing, we'd dance, and that was before we even came in the house. No, so
Did you ever fight? Did you guys have were you an Italian family?
my father was a professional boxer when he was a kid.
So was my father.
He grew up in Union City. So when he went to sign up, in these little fight clubs that they had, where they sat around, drank beer and smoked and watched two young guys kill themselves. He went to sign up and they said, "Nah, we got too many Italians." He goes, "I'm Irish. I'm Kid Murphy." So in my office, I have his speed bag, which was a wooden ring speed bag. And the bag itself is like shriveled and beaten. And I put a plaque under it. And it says something like, "Here's the speed bag of Kid Murphy." So it said, looking at it today, I'm glad it's not my head. But everything was get the gloves. We had to settle everything in with boxing gloves. We had to join PAL. We had to join, boxing. So that was a big part of it. And he believed in corporal punishment. Let me tell you, he was old school.
How was your relationship with your dad? What rubbed off? What rubbed off?
Great. I mean, he couldn't, let's say, break me. I mean, I would never answer back. Once I called my mother, he smacked me so hard I saw tomorrow. And he said, "Who's that? The cat's mother? Not you watching me." No, anyway. But so I never called my mother she, God rest her soul. What a wonderful woman. So it was great. I would give anything. Trust me. I'd want to save a little bit, but I'd give anything. He was something else. You would have loved him.
So what did you get out of him for your own? So that you propelled. I mean, you're a success on your own, and also you're a generous, giving person. So I wonder where that came from. Did that come from your daddy?
My family was they would give their shirt off their back. In fact, we never had any clothes. They gave all my shirts away. My sister. We have a line of service people in my family and cops and military. If my sister went past somebody that was looking for donations for the army or whatever, she'd write a check for $1,000 and put it in the thing. So it's the family. And that's the old days. We had neighbors. The neighbors could smack you if you did something.
Where did you live?
I lived in Bergenfield, New Jersey. I was born in Teen Holy Name Hospital. My family. When they came from Italy, they went to Union City, Jersey City, Union City. Actually, it was called Union Hill, which was Union City and Jersey City combined. And then they I guess they got an Italian mayor, and so Union City was Union City.
How many kids in the family? We didn't ever discuss that.
In his family or my family?
No, your family. Yeah,
I had a brother and a sister. God rest their souls. Wonderful people. My brother was like another father that smacked me too. Everybody smacked me. The guys. Let's put it that way. Everything was what are you talking about? You talking to me? And that's even before De Niro.
You should have been a wrestler and have a SmackDown. Isn't that what they call that?
Oh yeah. But we wrestled, we fought, we
Yeah.
had black eyes. I mean, you know, it was a different world. I mean, now of course it's
Yeah.
peace, happiness. So, you know.
Well, now we're up to present time with your family background on the tree. Now,
Right.
from the tree came the branch, came Don Oriolo. Now, Don Oriolo came out on his own to do what?
Well, I'll tell you. I've always been into music. I started playing guitar when I was 7. So I've been playing for 10 years. No, okay. Anyway, so whenever we had these family get-togethers with a million aunts, uncles, and whatever, see, they believed in education. And what they did in my father's family, all the kids would put their money together and they'd send the smart kids to college. So two of my uncles went to college. My uncle Dominic, who was a genius, he was a physicist, and we worked on the Manhattan Project. And then my uncle Tony was a chemical engineer. So they wanted to know if we went to I was a shy kid, but I was like the class clown because of my shyness. And so I'd go to these parties, these Italian parties, and my uncle Tony would come up and, "Hey, Donald, what are you gonna do when you grow up?" I'm going to be in the music business. Why? You going to be in the band? Hey, Donald, I'm going to be in the music business. And then everyone looked at me and laughed at me, right? Because they wanted me to go to college or whatever, which I didn't. But anyway, so and I go to another party, and then my aunt Rita would, and everybody sounded the same. Hey, Donald, they all had this recipe. But, "Hey, Donald, what are you going to do when you grow up?" "I'm going to be in the music business." "What, are you going to be in a band?" "Hey, Donald's going to have a band." So I heard this word. I was watching television or whatever. And I go, aha. So the next party we had, my uncle Dominic came up and said, "Hey, Donald, what are you going to do when you grow up?" "Huh?" I go, "I'm going to be an orthodontist." All right. So I thought for years I didn't know what an orthodontist was. I don't think I still do. But that's what I thought I was going to be. So I wasn't an orthodontist, but I got pretty good teeth. My father didn't have one cavity in his mouth when he died. Wow. Not one. But his regiment, I used to watch him as a little kid. It was 20 minutes in the morning. He'd scrub his teeth. He'd scrub his tongue. It was like, holy cow.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about that. My ex-wife now is a hygienist. But the good teeth come from the lack of bacteria. And this is now, since you brought it up, Italian families are breastfed as a rule. We did not... Well, that's where you get healthy teeth. From being breastfed. To make a long story short, I don't want to go into it anymore.
Well, I'm a cartoonist and I'm picturing this. So it's funny. I do a thing. It's funny. I'm changing the subject, although I would like not to, but because that goes with being Italian also. But anyway, is this a G-rated show? I don't know. I drew this thing the other day because I've been noticing various things with this whole pandemic or whatever. And so I drew a picture of this cute, like, young teenage girl with the mask on, crying. And off the camera, you see the bubble. The mom is saying, "Honey, what's the matter?" And she goes, "Mom, Mary got her mask from Abercrombie, and I got mine from Walmart." So I hear people commenting on, "Oh, I love your mask." It's like, "I love your mask. Oh, I love your mask too." So it's already become part of our culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's accepted. I don't accept it. I mean, I wear it. Don't get me wrong. I'm good with everybody. I do my social distancing. I wear my mask. So, but it's I feel bad for little kids. I see little kids wearing masks. I go, what must they be thinking? A 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kid. As part of this is life, isn't this life? I mean, Mommy's mask is a little dirty. Honey, you got to keep your mask clean.
Don't roll in the dirt with your mask. Now you're going to have your Sunday mask, okay? I'll let you use that today, but you're going to have to go to mass with this on. So it's a mask, okay? So put that away and get your play mask out.
I mean, that's,
What
So
I don't like about it is I'm Italian and we have a lot of garlic, and I don't like smelling my own breath.
Yeah, well, we
That's
don't
no
even.
good.
I meant to tell you that a while ago, but I love garlic. I mean, I
It's the
would,
number one vegetable. Number one vegetable. It
really,
is a vegetable.
yeah.
Do you have that on your farm? You got a farm, don't you?
And it's
You have a horse.
Tomatoes are fruit.
You have a farm.
I rescue horses. Yeah,
All
I
right.
have a horse rescue, and I rescue
How many
dogs.
do you have? How many?
15.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've got 8 dogs, 3 cats. I've got alpaca. I got a whole. In fact, I'm doing next week at the farm. I'm going to do my Pellegrino water. So,
I'm drinking, and I have infusion or confusion. That's what I'm drinking here, Don.
I have a so Here, let me get,
What is it? It says CD. It's got CBDs in it. Oh,
nice. Here's my my Pellegrino. No, self-reliant Italian will be without that. You must be a new age guy with that fusey stuff.
well, yeah, because the Pellegrino, I think, is a garden hose put in a bottle in the backyard in New Jersey. I don't think there's a real
Hey,
product.
I used to do a lot of work. I had an animation studio in Hungary. There's a lot of this stuff. If you look at my Wikipedia, it said, I ran Elvis Presley's publishing. I signed Meatloaf. I did a lot of stuff in the music business. I'll get to that. But I was in Hungary. I was staying at this hotel called the Thermal, which means thermal. And it was built on thermals. And it smelled like rotten eggs, so from the sulfur. It was right in an island, St. Margaret Island, in the middle of the Danube. And I'm coming out of my hotel room. I've seen a lot of things in hotels. From staying in hotels. I watched Ray Charles. His door was open, and I'm going, come on, I bet you he can see. And he went stuff away, and I stood there for 10 minutes. But anyway, that's a little irreverent. So I'm coming out of my hotel room, and how they have these rooms that they have the sink, the janitor closet, they call it. The sink is on the floor for the mop, and there was a faucet in there, and I watched the woman filling Evian bottles from the cat back. I'm not. That's a true story.
No, I know. Hey, listen, there's a lot of scams in the world. There are a lot of people building masks that don't work and selling things. Can you imagine taking a pandemic and being scummy enough to work and make profit off of a death plague, which is what we essentially have?
Started on this stuff because I get furious when I hear this stuff.
Yeah.
I get absolutely. You're making money off of a crisis. It's just it's a horrible situation. But anyway, back to me. So
we never left you, Don.
I feel gone. I feel like I'm wearing the wrong mask now.
No, you're fine.
Coming in, and going through the fake mask. But I have a lot of friends that are making masks. So there's a lot of good people that come that, during these crises, and it's cliche, of course, but I love cliches. A stitch in time saves 9, whatever. A lot of good people and a lot of assholes. Showing their bad side and people showing their incredible side. But the people that show the incredible side are the people that show their incredible side all year round. You don't have any new saints coming out of this pandemic, right?
Well said.
So
well said.
I like that face.
Yeah.
Take that face again. You're my radio hero. You know that, right?
No.
So, I just decided that. So you can quote me on that. So anyway, I started playing guitar. I used to cut school with my guitar into my arm. I didn't have a handle on my cardboard case. And I'd go around the Brill Building to sell songs to people. And I sold a lot of songs, and they liked my playing, so I became a studio guitar player, and I played on a lot of stuff. Then, as the years went by, I had my first chart record. Norman Bergen, who did all of Tony Orlando's arrangements and lots of stuff, did the arrangements on it. We did. Shelley Yakis was the engineer. A lot, Huey McCracken played on it, and Jimmy Young, and Cornell Dupree, and all these great musicians. And I had just gotten married, and my wife said, I can't take this being home when you're not having sessions. I go, what? You need to get a job. I said, job? I'm working my ass off. I do arrangements. I'm writing songs. I'm producing. I have records. So I said, oh, this is why I didn't want to do this. But anyway, so I said, okay. So I went out and I got a job with Robert Stigwood. I worked with the Bee Gees and Eric Clapton, and
Saturday Night Fever.
Well, before that, it was in the early 70s.
Where, in L.A.? When he was in L.A.?
In New York. We had Mick Jagger's apartments for our offices, 135 Central Park West, and we were right next to the Dakota. Yeah. And I was friends with May Pang, and I was on. So I don't want to name drop, but I was on the phone with Cher, and she came in. We were going to have lunch, and she looked. I said, and she said, "Oh, I didn't know. Did you want to have lunch, or do you want to meet John?" I went, Cher, can I call you back? Right? She took me over to meet John, and that was quite quick, but memorable. And so then I worked after Stigwood. I worked with 20th Century Fox. Ease on Down the Road. I broke that record. I got Rhinestone Cowboy, which was written by my friend Larry Weiss, to Lambert and Potter, to record with Glenn Campbell. Then I was sort of headhunted away from there, and I was vice president, general manager of Chapel Intersong, and I discovered Funky Town. I ran Elvis Presley's publishing company, Gladys Music. A lot of stuff. It's all on my Wikipedia that I didn't even know I had. But somebody said, "Wow, you did that? The Gummy Bear, you produced that? A billion views on YouTube." I go, "Yeah." But it's like, I like being under the radar. Yeah. I've seen what sort of fame can do. Like LL Cool J, Todd Smith is a friend of mine. He used to come to all of my when I had exhibits at the Javits, like when we had Felix conventions, with like the licensing show, and he'd come, and he couldn't walk 2 feet without everybody of every age, color, religion, creed, whatever. They all loved him. I said, "Is it always like this, Todd?" He goes, "Yeah, pretty much, But so.
That was the new ordinary. We have the new normal. That's the new ordinary. Yeah.
Right. And now the new ordinary is wearing a mask, so nobody knows who you are. You go in a bank wearing a mask now, and nobody cares. Months ago, you walk in with a mask and they'd shoot you, right?
Well, years ago, I wore a mask in front of an ATM machine to be funny with Wells Fargo, and I did a bit with it, and I almost got arrested. Then I took my money in a case, and I took it to a laundry to launder money, and then I really did get stopped. You can't do gags anymore. Those are gags.
No,
they don't do them anymore.
They don't.
People are.
It's amazing how they don't find things funny.
Well, now you do something every. I don't know how often. I know once a year you have a big show on your property, and you have all of these rock and roll artists that come and play and hang out. But are you still? Is this for the horses, to rescue horses, or is this just your own pleasure? I never knew.
Yeah, well, I do several things. I do some festivals. I promoted the 40th anniversary of Summer of Love. I did Americana Roots. I did a lot of big concerts. And last year I did Way Way Onda, which was a great festival. And then at my farm or my house, I just give parties. This year I had 1,000 people at my party, and I just I just treat everybody to whatever they want. I just love paying it forward. I like giving back. It's as you said, it's comes from my family, my upbringing.
Yeah.
My father loved barbecues. He loved to cook, man, and he loved to vacuum the house too. I just recalled that. He just had some real, as they say, picadillos, which is the big word of the day. Everybody, you can look that up. It's nothing dirty. But I'll never forget this one time. I don't know how these stories just come into my head now, but he was setting up, and mind you, the parties when he had barbecues, it was always the Max Fleischer animators, that did Popeye and Betty Boop. They were all his friends. So this was a real eclectic group of people from every background you could possibly think of.
Well, wait, just before you go on, let's roll this back a little. Don't forget, the film industry started in New Jersey.
Yes.
Did not start in Hollywood.
Fort Lee.
Yeah, and also, who was the inventor who lived in Fort Lee? Who was it?
Edison.
Yeah.
No,
So that the movie projector, the cameras, and everything was rolling in the Palisades before
That's
it was Hollywood. And
That's
so
right.
that gang is the one you're talking about. And another thing, just for the sake of the conversation, there's that castle in Long Island where Charlie Chaplin visited and wrote "Smile."
Right. That's
was
right.
it Mohegan or Mohican, something like that? I forget the name of it.
Something like that. Yeah. It was, I tell people I'm half Indian and half Italian. So when I meet you, I go, "How you doing?" You
have a great personality. I love you. That's why I wanted to have you on the air. I don't think a lot of people understand that I wanted to do this. Listen, this is a very special series. We haven't had anybody do that I could think of. I mean, I don't claim originality, because there was a guy named Edward R. Murrow used to go into a person's house, gone person to person years ago.
Sure, person to
but
person.
I wanted to present the people who really are real people without reality television.
Right.
We don't need to follow you around and get everything from the video, but I need to hear from the people themselves where they're coming from. Now,
Right.
And that's what I want to ask you this. This is not, I'm not trying to probe too deeply, but
yes, please. I'm sitting down. I don't want to, no.
I want to ask you.
I have to go for a colonoscopy as soon as this clears up.
No, that's not that kind of probe. Okay,
Right.
What I want to do is, as an upper GI, I'm looking for everything above the head. All right, now, what we're talking about here is your person, okay? Now, we already got a little bit of a background, got the family, we got your desires and some of the wishes, and you've achieved a lot of goals. So how do you take all of this and handle it during this time when, here we go, we're reinventing the country?
Yeah.
We're reinventing. Am I saying this wrong?
No, you're not saying it wrong. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a challenge. As you know, I have art galleries. My big one is in Key West. I had to close that down, but I have two guys, great guys, Jason and James, and they've been still selling art online. And but that's tragic. I mean, that whole, because that's such a great little town. I have a houseboat down there. Yeah. I can't even get into Florida. They stop you at the border and they lock you up. But no, not really. But
no, but they don't let you in if you're not a resident. You're a resident, so you're fine.
I am a resident actually, but I'm a dual
Yeah.
New Jersey and Florida. But in any event, I've tried to, like for instance, we're doing at my farm this week. We're doing a petting zoo that you don't get out of the car. So I have an animal petting zoo. I've got sheep and alpaca and ponies and donkeys and I have 100 acres there. So so they'll travel through around the farm and they'll see the animals, and just to keep, nobody has anything to do. They can't go anywhere. I'm doing so I'm trying to keep everything active that I have in obvious and non-obvious ways. You know.
Okay, now that's what I'm getting at. See, you're not being driven by the money, by the economy.
No,
You're
I'm
being
not.
driven by your heart. That's
I'm
what
a-
I was getting at.
I'm a pay it forward guy. I mean,
Yeah.
and I have found that money. I even hate the word because the monetary system is a joke. I mean, they just print it. You know, there's nothing. There's no gold behind it. There's no silver behind it. It's a promissory note. But anyway, you need the
Yeah.
paper, right? So I have always found that karma for me is actually a real thing, and it just always came. Money always came. You know, when I had Lisa Nicole Jam, I produced Gloria Gaynor. You know, I worked with Dr. Hook. I did a lot of big arrangements and productions. You know, that I'm glad to be under the radar of that. But you can look at my Wikipedia and you can go, ooh. Yeah, but they always said I had a great face for radio.
Great teeth. Great teeth.
My teeth,
Yeah,
they're all real.
I know.
You
Uh-oh.
Dentist. I feel bad. My doctor, my primary doctor, is retiring. I feel very, very bad. You want to see my studio?
Yes, but before we do that, I want to know why you got interested in rescuing horses, and then show me the studio.
Why what?
You got interested in rescuing horses.
You know, I'm an animal guy, number one. I've always, when I was a kid, I had turtles and snakes. I loved our dog. One of the biggest crushing moments of my life was when our family dog, which was most of the dogs in our family were really my father's dogs, frankly. I mean, he knew how to train them, and you know, but they were all very, very smart. And losing, you know, they say when you have a pet, it's a contract with sorrow, because you know you are their whole life, and
Yeah.
they're part of your life. You know, so it took me a while to start getting back to having dogs, but you know, they're like potato chips. You can't just have one, you know. So I have 8 dogs at the moment, and they were all rescues. I like to, you know, I don't like the way many people treat animals, and I learned when I was a kid that if another kid treated an animal bad, they're probably going to treat a human bad.
Yeah.
So I love animals. I mean, I actually.
The reason I'm off camera is I went to get my pet.
Oh,
I went to get.
well, here,
There you go. That's why I did that.
it's nice. Was that a cockatiel?
Yes, and you know they're very social. If they don't have another mate, they have you.
Right.
So sex is really available.
Pictures of that. But you know, that's a little beyond my scope.
So how did you settle with rescuing horses?
Well, I started. There was a 4-H horse that the girl had to get rid of. This was, you know, I've always had farmland. Property to Italians, so it's very important. You know,
Yeah.
at the big garden, I grow grapes, I make wine, I do all the cliche stuff, and so I first got the horse and a pony from my 2 sons, and they weren't really as into it as I was, so I wound up taking care of them. And then I heard someone else was going to send their horse to the market, and that's like slaughter, you know. I, you know, and everybody, they know they know me, so if there's a horse, they call me, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
but you got to get it in 2 days. I go, oh, Maron. So it's a love of animals. I can't really tell you. Well, I can tell you. It's from childhood. You know, I have my little kitten right here. Well, she's not a kitten. I know you like to hear your kitten. No, and over here, right here. I'm a cat too. And where's the professor? I'm over here, Felix. But I want your magic bag. Where's Poindexter? I'm over here, but I really do not think that Felix will give you his magic bag.
That's right, Professor. You can't have my magic bag. Rightio. So I've done for years, but when I was
It's
12
great.
years old, since I was like the music guy in the family, I actually ran the tape recorder to record Jack Mercer do all the voices in the hallway at my father's studio. He didn't have a budget for a studio. So I would set up a Magnacord 15 IPS, 7.5 IPS recorder with a pair of headsets that looked like they were from a World War I airplane. The rubber, and someone picked rubber, you know, they like to pick that. And an Electro Voice 660 dynamic mic, which I then used when I played in bands. So I'd set that up, and my father would say, Donald, just make sure that it's not in the red. So there was one big knob, and I got testing, 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 testing. All right, Mr. Mercer, I'm ready. All right, kid, run it. Where are we going? Look at that. I've heard of icebergs, but that's a Goldberg. You know, in a gold mine, you know. And so he would just go through. And then for Poindexter, we recorded at 7.5 IPS and then speeded up at 15, and that was the original.
Like Les Paul. Les Paul did the multi-track recording.
Oh yeah,
and
it was
Alvin and the Chipmunks. You know,
Chipmunks, yeah.
He must be one of your fans. I mean, you know, he was like a father to me. So.
Yeah. You know, they Bagdasarian.
Ross
Bagdasarian. Yeah. Now, my friend now, Jason Glebe, writes all of the songs for the Chipmunk movies, and actually, we just did I have a video out on Facebook. It just hit today, 6 million views.
What is it?
It's called Jenny, Jenny, on Facebook. Look it up. 6 million views. You know, so you can just go to my page, Don Oriolo, Oriolo. Although I had an Irish Christian brother in high school that actually I got kicked out of, but would make me sign my name O''Riolo, like Oriolo. Otherwise, 2 points off, and you like put a red mark. So I got a lot of 98s. Let's put it that way.
Well, you put JMJ on the top of the page.
Yes, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Yeah, that's right. That was part of the format.
I did that for years. Absolutely.
How did you feel about Disney? How was that in your family? Walt Disney. And,
I actually
met
Walt Disney with my father.
Yeah.
Because Disney loved my father's work, and my father did some work for him, but my father didn't want to work for him. So my father was an independent guy, I'll tell you. But he worked with Hanna-Barbera. He did a lot of the Tom and Jerry stuff for them. My father animated like 5 feet a day. It's 90 feet to a minute of animation, and he was fast, just fast. But so when I met him, I went into the city with my father. My friends who are animators, they go, "What was it like? What did you do? What did you?" I said, "The only thing I really remember is that he lit one cigarette with another cigarette." And because I was brought up around great animators, Steve Affati, Rube Grossman, Johnny Gent, Nick DeFury, they were all great friends of my father, and they were all amazing animators. So it was no big deal to me, I mean, in retrospect, I think about it. Yeah, I actually,
and don't forget Willis Pyle.
Willis Pyle, yeah.
Yeah, he was a good friend. He died 2 years ago. I used to see him all the time. We did a concert at Lincoln Center where he did Fantasia with the orchestra live, but no sound. And it was just
Stravinsky.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Now, I was tonight's the sing along with the ABC music, the movies, and the Walt Disney. Of course, Disney owns ABC.
Right.
So, on the network, they're going to have this sing-along with the Disney songs. And I'm thinking the Disney songs are today, I can't get the melody. And, the zippity-doo-dah days are gone. We don't have that anymore.
How about When You Wish Upon a Star?
And they were so appropriate.
It's who you are. I mean, these songs are like, come on. Hi ho,
I did one.
Hi ho, it's off to work we go. Hi ho. Do you have to pay ASCAP?
No, but I did one that I thought was appropriate for this generation. Super careless, unrealistic, and you die from overdoses. So let me ask you this.
Pandemic.
Now back to the horses, and then you got to show us around. All right.
Yeah.
So you now, when someone is in trouble with a horse, they call you. They go on the website. What do they do?
Yeah, they either they go on Facebook, they call me. People contact me, and I check them out. See, what I don't like. This is what this really makes me angry. When a horse gets to be 22 or 23, and the people had them their whole life, and they want to get rid of them because they just don't want to see them die. So they would rather, give their family away to somebody. That really burns me up.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, somebody's trying to give me this this racehorse. They said, it's you could have them have babies, and this horse is worth $150,000. I said, why do you want to give this? She's lame, and I don't have room for her. I said, you don't have room for her because you want to get another horse, and just because the horse is lame, which you caused, you want to give her. I get really, really upset. That's like giving your kid away,
Yeah.
It's like, these some of these dogs I've gotten when they're 10 years old, because people get tired of them. They don't want to, how do you do that? This is a real pet peeve with me. Because these animals are my family. I love them. I mourn animals as much as I do people, and we just lost a great songwriter, Mark Barkin, my good friend, 3 days ago. He passed away. I feel really bad about that. Mark wrote Tra La 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 and Pretty Flamingo, and there's a lot of stuff for Leslie Gore. He was a great, great guy.
We lost our guy Tony Camillo too. We did Midnight Train to Georgia, and
Great guy.
Yeah.
Go to his studio with the shag rug in it in Jersey.
Show us around the house. Show us around. What's it?
All right.
Let's take a look here.
Only for you, I'll do this. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'm in my studio. There's my little kitty cat.
Wow. That's the kitten. Let me see the kitten.
He is. Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Oh, wow. Look at those eyes.
Yeah, she's a rescue. Here's my new cowboy hat I got yesterday. How do you like that? Here's my paints. Here's some of my paintings. I just did this for a video. We needed this so I did it like in 2 hours. And it was like,
wow.
I had somebody. My paints never looked that neat, but the lady that cleans my house decided that she was gonna, straighten them up. So
great studio. Look at all the Felix. You're loaded with cats here.
Yeah, this is cool. This is Von Zipper. He's a famous pinstriper. He did that for me. And this is my little, refreshment center or whatever. Here's some more paintings here. This is an
guitar. What's the guitar over there? Go back to the left. What's that guitar?
That's just it's a classical guitar.
Oh, okay.
Nothing real special. So, here's what is that? Looks like alcohol. That shouldn't be there. And I sketch at this table. I was doing this morning. I do a painting or a drawing every day. And there's my stage back there. I've had a lot of different people here.
Wow.
That goes back, this is the view out of the back here. So I've got 60 acres here.
Beautiful.
And, they said, why did you put a bathtub right in the room? I said, who's going to look at me? I wash my dogs in there.
Oh.
Some paintings, more paintings.
Wow. You got black and white.
Oh yeah. There's my wheelhouse. Not moving right now.
Wow.
This thing is great. I love this thing. This is.
That's that wonderful therapy chair.
Yeah. Here's my clothes. Here's my clothes rack.
Yeah.
So that's it. And then my barn, my horse barn, guest house. I have my horses moved back in the back because I just have to lime the fields up here, and that's not good for them. So that's a little bit of it.
You're amazing. You're amazing. I love you. You're
I
great,
love
Don.
you too. I love you too, man. Great. You're hired.
Where did I get this? I think you gave me this.
I did give you that.
You're a wonderful guy.
Thanks, brother.
Thanp you. So Don
Right,
Oriolo, who's one of a kind, and there's never going to be another one of you. And I don't know about your father, but there ain't never going to be another one of you. You are a fingerprint. You know that?
Thank you, man.
A snowflake and a fingerprint.
Which finger?
One of a kind. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
Joey. I love you, man, and I love your show. I've always followed you. You're the greatest on-air personality that ever lived.
Oh wow! Well, thank you for letting me in your house. It's the only way you ever invite me over is
no, that's not true, and that's not true,
know.
and you know that.
I'm just being foolish.
Well, let the people know that you had a standing invitation, but you were sitting down at the time, so you couldn't come.
Well, I'll tell you the worst thing about the pandemic is that I can't do this. I
can't
touch my face.
Which just means go to Naples.
Go to Naples. That's all.
But Naples was so bad with La Camorra that you couldn't go there.
Oh, I love you so much, and thank you so much. And see, I take good care.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Don Oriolo.
Peace out, bro.
Let a smile be your umbrella. Don't get a mouthful of rain. All right, bye-bye.